Speaking of history, this is your first collection.
Right, yes. This is the first donation that came to the California State Library. It arrived on December 22nd, 1849. A man by the name of Colonel Jonathan Drake Stevenson of the New York Volunteers came to California and presented these when the first legislature was meeting in San Jose, and he presented these volumes to establish a state library for the people of California. Not just here are some books for the new government, but to establish a state library. And these are just so precious. And of course, they're natural history of his own home state of New York.
Wow. That was the beginning right
there. Yes,
there.
and in January, the great explorer, the pathfinder John C. Fremont, also donated 100 or so volumes to establish a state library.
And how many do you have now?
We have probably about 45 miles worth of shelving.
45 miles?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. What we have here, Rob, is James Marshall, who is the one who is credited with discovering gold at the Coloma Valley at Sutter's Mill. This is his drawing of that great moment of the gold discovery. And here he is. This is a little self-portrait, and as you can see, he was not the greatest artist in the world. But he says here, "I have found it." Wow. And then somebody else, probably Mr. Bigler, was saying, "What is it?" And then he wrote down here, "Situation of all hands at the time I brought out the gold and showed it." He had the date of January 19th, 1848. Somebody went back through Bigler's diary and determined actually it occurred on January 24th, 1848. And then on the flip side of this is this wonderful rendering of Sutter's Mill at the time he discovered gold.
How interesting.
And the mill that is up there right now is a replica, but this drawing greatly helped them in creating this replica.
So this is the real McCoy.
This is the real McCoy in Marshall's own hand. And he said, "I'll never forget that morning when I was taking my usual walk along the race. I saw something glittering in a ditch. It made my heart thump, for I was certain that it was gold."
You've been doing this for 33 years.
Yes, and it's such a privilege to be here and to be in a room like this. Whenever I get depressed, I come in here and say, "Here's a lot of my friends," and I can then say, "Hello, Mr. Marshall, how are you doing today?" So just seeing these maps, seeing these beautiful books, just is so inspiring. You know, it just gives you such an energy charge to be in this room here. So.
I love that you brought us in here where people aren't allowed to come.
Right.
Because the origins of this state are in this room.
Yes, right. It really, really is. It shows you again the influence of the eastern United States. People from around the world. Jim Holliday, the great historian, said the world rushed into California with the discovery of gold, and that's represented so well in this collection. Like in Sacramento, down in Embarcadero, you had things like the Stinking Tent, one of the great gambling saloons, and for an isolated protected kid to go into one of these things, and the blare of music and the liquor and people speaking in all kinds of languages, there's smoke and bands and pretty ladies coming up and said, "You know, if I stand next to you, I'll only charge you an ounce of gold."
Well, you have given us more than an ounce of gold today. Gary, thank you so much.
All right, Rob. Okay.
What an honor to come inside this room and show California's history.
A joy to share this with you.